All right, so with example 1, we're asked to classify each number by what type of real number it is. We already know that it's a real number. We're given that, so we don't have to classify it as such. But we're looking at rational, irrational, whole number, counting number, so on and so forth. With part A, we're given 2.45. Since 0.45 is a terminating decimal, we know that it's rational. We could write this as a mixed number if we wanted to, and then write it as an improper fraction. Anytime we can write a number as a fraction, it's going to be a rational number. Part B, we have 2.45 with the 45 repeating. Anytime we have a repeating decimal, that means it can be written as a mixed number or improper fraction. So again, that would be rational. The only time that a decimal is not going to be rational is when it goes on infinitely and does not repeat, such as like pi, or the square root of a perfect square, or the square root of a non-perfect square. That will be irrational. And ironically, that's our next problem. We have the negative square root of 5. It wouldn't matter if we had this negative out here or not. Anytime you have the square root of a non-perfect square, that is going to be an irrational number. And then finally with part D, we have the negative square root of 64. And we should recognize that 64 is a perfect square. It's 8 squared, so the negative square root of 64 equals the negative square root of 8 squared, which simply equals negative 8, which that is going to be both an integer, and all integers are rational numbers. Now with part B, we're asked, or example 2, we're asked to order the numbers that we're given. So with part A, we're given the square root of 5 and 2 1/4. The square root of 5 is approximately 2.236. So square root of 5 is approximately 2.236. 2 1/4 equals 2.25. 2.236 is less than 2.25, so we know that the square root of 5 is less than 2 1/4. With part B, we're given the square root of 0.04 and 20%. So the square root of 0.04 equals 0.2, because 0.2 times 0.2 is 0.04. 20% equals 0.2. Move the decimal place over 2 places and write it as a decimal as 0.2. So we know from this that the square root of 0.04 equals 20%. All right, part C, we're given 6.5 and the square root of 43. 6.5 equals 6.5. Square root of 43 is approximately 6.557. So again, we know from that 6.557 is greater than 6.5, so 6.5 or 6 1/2 is less than the square root of 43. And last but not least, with part D, we're given 11.445 and the square root of 143. The square root of 143 is approximately 11.958. So we know that 11.445 is less than the square root of 143.